Ever turned the wheel and heard that annoying clunk under your car? Or hit on a bumpy road and it knocked and rattled as if the front end was falling apart? You are not alone. In today's video, we are replacing the lower control arms and sway bar end links on the Honda Odyssey. And trust me, the result is amazing. It's a simple procedure, but there are some crucial steps I need to show you. Details that can make or break your success on this repair. Welcome to Professor's Garage. Thank you for stopping by. If you found this video helpful, please leave us a like. If you are new to the channel, consider subscribing. There's much more to come on DIY mechanic tips and tutorials in the garage. Back to the video on lower control arm and sway bar link replacement. I will first walk you through major challenges and key tips, and then show you the full process. Let's get started. And hopefully you can see this sway bar and link has play. Replacing the lower control arms and the sway bar links on this Honda Odyssey is not particularly difficult. It's rather straightforward, except for three things that you need to bear in mind. The first is you need a tool to separate the ball joint, and ideally you need a tool to chisel it, to pull it from the sideway, because you don't have the clearance to put this puller tool in there to separate them. So you can either use a fork, a separator to separate it, or as I do, I chisel it this way, or you can hammer it hard, really hard, and it will come loose. So this is the first challenge. The second challenge, incredible are those bolts for the sway bar links. These are seized on this Odyssey. For this one, for the outside, I was able to use lots of penetrating oil and an impact wrench to get it loose. For the inside one, for the one on the sway bar, because of the angle and the clearance here, I couldn't fit my impact wrench in here, so I ended up cutting it, grinding it down to remove it. So that was the most difficult part. Lots of grinding and lots of dust. Just be aware that these are actually much more difficult than the bolts here to remove. These are actually relatively easy. If you have a breaker bar, you can get them loose. This bolt, if you try to pull it out, this will block it. And so what you do is you need to lose this link on both sides, on the driver's side and on the passenger side, so that you can move this out of the way freely, and you will be able to access this bolt. The third challenge is to get this in place. So what I do is first to get this bushing in place, which is easy, and then the ball joint thread on the castle nut. So these two will be in place before I start this one. So this will be roughly in place, and then once this is roughly there, you can use a screwdriver to pry it through the hole so that you can move it into position to push through. And once it's through, because it comes from bottom up, from this angle, it's particularly hard to kind of pull it upward and then to get it on. So what I ended up doing was to use a jack. You put the socket here and then jack it up lightly, and then you can try to start to thread it on. Try to turn with your fingers, your hand. So these are the three major challenges. Before you raise the vehicle, measure the right height on both sides. Park the unloaded vehicle on the level surface and measure from the center of the wheel hub to the fender arch. It's about 16 inches. So this very tiny play, it's actually very pronounced on the road when you are making a turn. After you remove the sway bar link from both sides, you can move the sway bar out of the way so you can access the bolt here. It's a 19 millimeter. Also get a universal joint because the space is tight. And then you can either use a breaker bar or impact wrench to take this off. Another 19 millimeter here. Compared to the sway bar link, these bolts are easy to remove. Take off the cutter pin. This is a 19 millimeter. But before we completely remove the castle nut, we want to disconnect the ball joint. You can use a fork, but this also works. Yes. Now it's loose. Before you take this bolt off, keep this in place. Otherwise, this is going to sag and you will have a difficult time to remove this one. This bushing is torn. It's good to replace it. These replacement parts from maXpeedingRods are exact fit for the 2010 Honda Odyssey. I previously installed their tie rods in another video, and now we are adding their lower control arms and sway bar end links. By the way, the tie rod ball joints come with grease fittings. Let's pump some grease until it starts to swell. Great! This is the old control arm, about 3,600 grams. The new... These arms are slightly heavier than the factory ones, and after a month of driving, I'm so happy with them. No more clunking when turning, and the ride feels solid. Before we reinstall the lower control arm, remove the sway bar link completely. Difficult to show you the inside, so I'm going to use this as an example. In the middle, it's a number 6 hex. So theoretically, you can insert a number 6 hex in there, turn clockwise. There's a nut here to secure it. So keeping the nut in place with, I believe, a 17 millimeter open wrench, you can turn this clockwise to loosen. But this, after so many years, is totally seized. Because I couldn't really fit a impact wrench in here, I don't have a smaller impact wrench. So in the end, I wasn't able to take it off and have to use a grinder to cut it. So that is what happened in the end on the other side. On this side, I'm going to try if I can have a vice grip here and turn the nut 17 millimeter. If none of these work, in the end, I'm going to cut this as well. Oh, even this long breaker bar is not enough to take it off. Unbelievable. I wish I had a smaller impact wrench. Okay, grinder time. Don't forget your eye and ear protection. Whoa. Okay. Unbelievable. Now we can go back to our lower control arm installation. now just make sure the thread has started, thread it on, and no need to tighten it because we still need to adjust the other one. It's always easier if you can pry, because if it's not in place, regardless of how hard you hammer it, it's not going to go in. No need to tighten it before we get the other one in. This is the bushing toward the rear, and we need to get this in. Because this goes from under, it's really difficult to start the thread from this position. So I'm going to use a jack to help me get the thread started. Jack it up, make it lightly engaged, pry it. I think it started. Yep, it goes up. It goes up smoothly, so I know it's not cross-threading. See, it goes up. So with the assistance of a jack, it's easier. Just remember, don't push the jack too hard. Lightly engage it. If you can turn it and feel the thread, that would be great. Do not tighten these bushings. We'll need to raise the suspension up before we can tighten the bushings and the ball joint. Now raise the suspension until it reaches the same 16-inch right height, or the pinch well has just lifted off the jack stand. 16 inches. That was the measurement we took before raising the vehicle. And we need to tighten the bolts down when suspension is on the ground, because you want the bushings not to be torn. If you tighten the bushings before raising the suspension, when you lower the car down and drive it on the road, it's going to create too much tension. The bushings will get torn. Tighten this to 65 pound-feet of torque. Also tighten this to 65 pound-feet of torque. This is 51 pound-feet of torque, but because in the end you need to make sure you can put this cutter pin in, I'm going to tighten this a little bit more using an open wrench. It's a 19 millimeter. The hole for the cutter pin is also revealed. Okay, we are done with the lower control arms. Ready to install the new sway bar link. Both ends are the same. We're going to start with the lower side to the sway bar. And because it was seized, this time I'm going to apply some NTCs on the thread. Oh, and the recording was not on, so I already applied NTCs. And usually I don't apply this much. Like, this is really a lot of NTCs. Okay, this side on. The knot on the new one is 19 millimeter. Tighten both to 58 pound-feet of torque. So 58 pound-feet of torque. Great. Put the wheel back, lower the car, have a test drive, and you're all good. Hopefully the rattling, the clunky noise will disappear. Just a heads up, even though these are exact fit ports, any small difference in the bushings and geometry can throw your alignment off. That's especially true for toe, so don't skip the alignment. And if you're replacing your tie rods, lower control arms, and end links together, it makes lots of sense to do them in one go. That way you only need one alignment. In the tie rod replacement video, I also show you how to do precise DIY alignment at home. And I will share the link here, so check it out. So now we are all done. Let's give it a test. There was a bump, and I don't hear anything. This is completely different. It's so much better. No noise at all. It feels amazing. So that's the job. New swaybar end links, new lower control arms, and a smoother, quieter ride. But there is one more project to improve a critical component on the suspension. As you probably noticed in the video, the brake rotors have deep scoring marks, and my steering vibrates when braking on the highway. There will be another video to show you common culprits of steering pulsation and the ultimate fix. The result, unbelievable. I hope this video was helpful. Consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to Professor's Garage. If Professor can do it, you can do it. Stay dirty, be safe. Until next time, may the Lord bless you and give you peace. 平安。